Hi everyone, and welcome to TWF. Hi everyone, and welcome to TWF Collision or Hit. I, Tony Schiavone, Renee Young, and Paulie Dangerously here. And today on Collision or Hit, we're going to see the women's world heavyweight winnings on stake when Becky Lynch takes on Madison Rayne, the first TWF women's heavyweight fighter, Tony Schiavone says. You got that right, Renee Young said. A lot of folks forget that Madison Rayne was the first TWF women's heavyweight fighter when the women's TWF heavyweight winnings was offshooted towards the end of 2012 or early 2003 between it while. I'll tell you one thing right now, Tony and Renee. Madison Rayne, what do you want to call her? Ashley Rayne, whatever you want to call her, spent most of her time in TNAW, IW, GSW, IW, TNAW, now in AEW. You know, has a one-off in WWE years ago when she was in the Mae Young Old, wrestling show. But at the end of the day, it is what it is, And we'll see if Madison Rayne can win the TWF Women's Heavyweight winnings again for the 3rd time. Well, now we're going the ring. Paulie Dangerously says. Well, now we're going the ring now. Tony Schiavone says, and we'll see Paulie Dangerously if Becky Lynch can beat Madison Rayne. So here I am, folks. The man has come around again. And this time the man says that she doesn't know who she's fighting. Now, mostly in the past, we would have Gail Kim handle all this shit. But she's been missing in work for some time. So whoever wants to come out, and think that they're man enough or woman enough to take the women's world heavyweight winnings off of me, by all means, let them do it. Well, here comes Madison Rayne now. Tony Schiavone said come in the ring now. Well, she can get in the ring. Can she stand up in the ring? Renee Young says. And the answer would be no. And the answer is yes, she can stand up in the ring. Renee Young says. Madison Rayne, who won the TNA women's heavyweight winnings sundriest times, But a lot of folks haven't really cared about TNAW in years, Paulie Dangerously says. Just to let you know, she has won the TNAW women heavyweight winnings about 5 or 6 times. Well, Becky Lynch, you should know that I was the first TWF women's heavyweight fighter when the winnings became a thing. You see, you might say that you're the greatest now, Becky Lynch. And for WWE, that's most likely their standard. But I spent all my years in TNAW, which became IW, GSW, IW, and then I left, went to AEW. Yeah, but Madison Rayne, you forget one thing. You were in WWE for a one-off in the Mae Young round of women's wrestling show, right? You didn't get picked up after it. And instead of going by the ring name Madison Rayne, you were going by your true name Ashley Rayne instead, right? Thought you were too good for WWE, is that it? Or need be Vince McMahon and Hunter Hearst Helmsley and some other folks, didn't think highly about you, I guess. I guess you can guilt not being in WWE on Vince McMahon, Hunter Helmsley, Brother Love. Everybody else mostly does. Or Kevin Dunn. But nowadays, anything that happens in WWE, you can't guilt it on Vince McMahon, Johnny Ace, Jeff Jarrett, or, I don't know, Kevin Dunn, or, Brad Finn. Whatever your forgiveness was, I don't care. I don't care if you've been in TNA, WI, WGSW, TNAW for years, and how you're in AEW now. But I've done a lot more than you did. Is that so, Becky Lynch? I'm a 6-time TNAW women's heavyweight fighter. I was winning at winnings in TNAW when WWE still was having women do bedroom wrestling, or wrestling in swimming pools, or whatever the hell they were doing. And, yeah. Well, let me tell you something, Madison Rayne. I guess you kind of missed when Trish Stratus and Lita had their main show on a Monday Night Raw at the end of 2004 YL. I guess you kind of didn't see you didn't see years later when Charlotte Flair and Ronda Rousey and myself were at Wrestle Madness in the first ever women's main show at a Wrestle Madness. Yeah, WWE women wrestlers have come a long way from their early days. And we're no longer called divas anymore. That's a Latinist borrowed word. We're called overstars or wrestlers now. You should talk. TNAW still calls their women wrestlers knockouts. But I'm not in TNAW anymore, Rebecca. I'm in AEW now. Yeah, and AEW hasn't really done shit, now has they? AEW talks about how they're going to shift the leer of skilled wrestling, and they haven't done shit. Shell Khan and Anthony Kong always want everybody to believe, Madison, that they're more greater than Ariel Odell and Patrick Whitesell. But they're not. Now you want to have the match between us here and the Toy Wrestling Gathering? Or shall we keep on talking about all the shit we did in World Wrestling Gris and full, World Wrestling Gris and full non-stop working wrestling, right? Yeah, I think so. This might be the only time that a AEW wrestler fights a WWE wrestler. Well, this is for the TWF Women's World Heavyweight winnings. Sorry. First, she is Madison Rayne, and she is the Women's World Heavyweight fighter, Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch did say a lot of things. And look, Tony Schiavone said, Becky Lynch did the manhandle slam on Madison Rayne, Tony Schiavone says. I guess Becky Lynch took a lot of those things to heart that Madison Rayne said about WWE or or WWE or World Wrestling Glee, Renee Young says. Well, a lot of things were true, Paulie Dangerously says. The women wrestlers came a long way from where they were when they started. But Madison Rayne shouldn't talk about how TNAW or AEW is greater than WWE. That's more of a belief there. Madison Rayne is in a bind right now. Well, watch this, Paulie Dangerously said, oh, Madison Rayne just did the manhandle slam on Becky Lynch, who has, won the WWE Women's World Heavyweight winnings, the women's weight winnings, sundriest times over. And Madison Rayne just drop kicked down Becky Lynch. Madison Rayne is hoping to become a three-time TWF Women's Heavyweight Fighter, Tony Schiavone said. Paulie Dangerously says, if it's in the booking and the writing, Tony. The manhandle slam again on Madison Rayne. Well, Renee Young says, if Becky Lynch can get the 1-2-3 or get Madison Rayne to yield here, she'll still keep her winnings. Oh! What was that all about? Madison Rayne. Oh! Madison Rayne down on Becky Lynch with her own hold, Tony Schiavone says. Yeah, Renee Young says, her TNAW song was called She's the Killer Queen. Or was it a Killer Bee? She's a Killer Queen, I guess. Whatever, she's killing, slaying Becky Lynch's run as the Women's World Heavyweight Fighter, Paulie Dangerously says. Haha. 1, 2, 3. Ding ding ding. Here is your winner and the new TWF. Here's your winner in the new Women's World Heavyweight. Here's your winner in the new Women's World Heavyweight Fighter, Madison Rayne. Well, a little mistake. Madison Rayne is the first TWF Women's Heavyweight Fighter. The truth is, it was Shayna Baszler who was the first Women's World Heavyweight Fighter in the TWF. But Madison Rayne has won the Women's World Heavyweight winnings here in the Toy Wrestling Gathering. Tony Schiavone says. Well, I guess that means, what is that, a win for what? TNAW, AW, Renee Young says. I don't really know, Paulie Dangerously says, if it's a win for her or not. But all I do know is that at the end of the day, we got a new Women's World Heavyweight Fighter, and her name is Madison Rayne. And we're going to send over now to Gorilla Monsoon. That's all I know, Paulie Dangerously said. That's all I know. So, anyway, Tony Schiavone said, take it away, Gorilla Monsoon. Thank you, Tony Schiavone and Renee Young. I'm going to be talking with Becky Lynch here today on TWF Collision or Hit. Becky Lynch, somehow, someway, you lost the Women's World Heavyweight winnings. I don't know how that happened, Gorilla Monsoon. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't know how I lost, but I did. But I do know that I do have another match. And I can wrestle, Madison Rayne again, or whatever she's calling herself. I'll tell you one thing right now, Rebecca Kroll, or Becky Lynch. Madison Rayne, who is now in AEW now, and so Madison Rayne beating you somehow would make folks think that AEW is greater than WWE. First off, Gorilla Monsoon, that's bullshit. And I know you don't believe that. Well, first off, I know WWE is always going to be greater than any other skilled wrestling business out there. We're talking about you and how you lost to Madison Rayne. Somehow, someway, Gorilla Monsoon, she did my hold, the manhandle slam, which is offshooted from the stone bottom and the booking. I don't know how she did it, but I'm going to get my hands on that former TNAW women's wrestler, now AEW women's wrestler, and I will win the Women's World Heavyweight winnings back again. And Madison Rayne, you just don't know what foe you made. Well, that's my talk with Becky Lynch. or the man, Becky Lynch. Back to you, Tony Schiavone and Renee Young. Thank you, Gorilla Monsoon, for talking with Becky Lynch here today on Collision or Hit. That's all the time we got here for Collision or Hit. I, Tony Schiavone, Renee Young, and Paulie Dangerously. We hope you like Collision or Hit. And we'll see you tomorrow for Monday Night Raw. Or Alone at Night Raw.